Hey Ringside crew, welcome to the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. And now here's your host, Joe Panther III.
Welcome to August and 4 years of this podcast. I would like to welcome you to an all-new episode of the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. I'm Joe Panther III. With this being the 4-year anniversary year of Dudes at Ringside, I want to welcome you all to UK Wrestling Month. If it wasn't for the UK wrestling scene and wrestlers, promoters, owners, this podcast would not be internationally known. It always goes back to thanking Kiara. Lovely Kiara. She is such an awesome person. She doesn't realize how much she helped Dudes at Ringside get this whole internationally known name and bubble. So now we've been doing this now for 4 years with the UK wrestling scene. Introduce yourself to my internationally known audience.
Hi, I'm Sophia. I'm a British female wrestler.
Awesome. So, who trained you?
I've trained a few different places. I've trained at UKW. I've currently training at 5-Star Championship Wrestling. And Rob Bagwell, the rockstar, is my trainer there. I've trained at Squared Circle with Marty Jones a bit before. And I've trained at NSAW.
Awesome. I'm very familiar with UK wrestling. I've had quite a few wrestlers from UK wrestling. I've had Lori. I've had I forgot the gentleman I had on. So sad, I should not do that. But I've had quite a few wrestlers from there. When you first decided to join the wrestling business, what were some of your reasons why you became a wrestler?
I've never really liked normal, sports that I consider as normal ones for women, such as dance. I've never enjoyed that. I started watching wrestling in lockdown with my dad, and I just thought it looks really fun. I'd like to give it a go.
Awesome. So who were some of the wrestlers that you saw during lockdown that you liked a lot?
I thought Kenny Omega was really good.
Legend.
I liked Dr. Britt Baker, DMD.
Awesome. So okay, go on. Sorry.
And I quite liked Luchasaurus.
Awesome. Did it take you a long time to find the first school you trained at?
Yeah, because of the timing of it, when the whole world was in lockdown for COVID, it was, so I couldn't train for a while wanting to, but then when I finally found a place, it was quite difficult to find because there's not much like it around, but I did find some eventually.
Awesome. When there was no schools to train at, did you modify and do small little things at your house in your basement or whatever, like by the gym?
I started going to the gym more. I used to run quite a bit. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for years, so I put in a lot of energy in that, especially so I can transfer some skills across. And not really that much, but I did practicing stuff like lockups, headlocks with my mum and dad when just practicing training and stuff.
Oh, wow. With you having jiu-jitsu training, do you throw a lot of that in your moveset with your matches?
I try to. I'm currently trying to bring in some more bits than I have done in the past. But that's my goal, to get some jiu-jitsu into my wrestling.
Awesome. Who made your gear?
I've used Pro Wrestling Gear UK to get my gear done because they do some really good stuff.
Awesome. Do you have different styles of gear that you wear, or is it always the same stuff, when you go to different shows?
I've got 2 pairs of gear. They've both got very similar top with my logo, which my jiu-jitsu teacher actually designed. And that's a singlet top. However, when I well, some shows I wear a leather skirt over it and tights. Other shows I wear some black and blue leggings, tights, whatever the word is.
Do you have any dream matches that you want to do this year in 2025?
I'd love to fight Scarlet. I think that'd be fun. No, I think that'd be one of the matches I'd really like to do most against Scarlet. Can't think of any off the top of my head.
Yeah, there's so many young, talented wrestlers in the business nowadays, like you, and there's so many young ones coming up. Do you ever feel like that your class of like wrestlers, young wrestlers, is now like the new era of indie wrestling?
Yeah, I do, definitely.
Awesome. What does that feel like? Like, does it have a different feeling that you're the new class? Like, there's like the older wrestlers. Do you ever go up to the older wrestlers and try to ask for like advice on how to do this and how to do that and stuff like that?
Yeah, definitely. When I'm at shows, I will always try to get advice from the older wrestlers. And I guess it just feels like I could have the potential to inspire a whole new generation of young people to wrestle eventually.
Awesome. When it comes to like the day of the day of a show, do you have like a certain schedule you have to keep up to be able to get there like on time and everything?
Not really, because I usually do shows in Firestar, and their main venue is only about half an hour away from where I actually live. So I don't have set schedule. I just need to make sure I'm there quite a bit early. And some of the shows I'm at, I've got set up quite a bit earlier because of the distance and stuff, but no, I don't have a set schedule.
Awesome. So, like, we'll talk about this after the show, after your wrestling show that you train at, and you're like ready to do that show. Is there anywhere you guys eat after a show that that they don't have here in the States that you guys have in the UK?
No, not really. I usually just eat at home or go to McDonald's or something if I'm quite far away or wherever. If it's quite far away, wherever the service station is.
Awesome. Is there anywhere in the UK that you haven't been to yet?
I'm trying to think. I haven't wrestled internationally or anything. I'd love to wrestle internationally, but most places I've been to around this area and around England and around the UK and stuff.
Awesome. Do you ever see yourself coming to the United States to wrestle?
Yeah, I'd love to. That's my dream, actually.
I'm from Pennsylvania. There's always room for new wrestlers here in the States to come talented from overseas. You know what I mean? I'm always wanting to see some young, talented wrestlers coming through and trying out this American scene, because it's not for everybody. The fans could be very rough. Yeah. But once you give them a show, they won't go away. They'll be there forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when it comes to your training regimen, like how many times a day do you go to the gym? How many times a day do you do mat work?
Once a day usually, because I do have to fit in school and all sorts of stuff like that as well. But no, I try to train as much as I can, basically. But I don't have set routines, to be honest.
Have you ever been recognized by a kid in school?
Yeah, I have. A few months ago, someone recognised me.
Oh my gosh, what was that like?
It was quite a shock, because it was somebody who saw my TikTok and my wrestling stuff, came to look me up on YouTube, find some matches, and actually come across sincerely and to say that they thought my wrestling was really good, which was nice.
That's cool. It must have been kind of weird for you to be in school and not be in the same world because you're at school, you're not technically in your like character, you're not in your gear, and your classmate comes up and you see the classmate sees you and goes, "Oh, I know you from the match," like a wrestling match, and you're like, "Oh, what row? Who is this person, and how do I know them, and do they know me from something I do when I'm not in my gear and stuff like that?" That must have been like different for you because you're not used to having, like, I guess being in school. It's you're in a different zone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Mm. So the next day after a show, do you try to like rest, or do you immediately just go to the next page and just do whatever?
I try to rest a bit because I don't want to injure myself by training too hard. But all depending on what day it is, some days I will be going to the gym, going to jiu-jitsu classes, anything like that.
Okay. If my fans want to follow you on social media, how can they find you?
If you go into TikTok and look up Sophia_swords, that is my page. That's where I post the most.
Awesome. Do you have any
I don't really
merch if
post any of
anybody
social
wants to
medias
buy
on
anything?
TikTok. So. Yeah, I sell cupcakes with either purple or blue frosting, all depending on what gear I'm in. Then I sell these little inflatable toy swords and some bracelets, the classic emo scene candy bracelets.
Awesome. Well, I really hope that my fans, if there's anybody in the UK that going to a show and she's at a show, definitely go to her table, buy a cupcake, buy a bracelet, buy something fun. You know what I mean? I always like supporting my wrestlers that I work with, and all my fans will be gracious enough to buy something, buy a bracelet, buy a cupcake, buy a sword. But I want to thank you so much, and thank you for helping me open UK Wrestling Month. Um, Definitely would like to have you back on whatever throughout the whole year. I'm Joe Panther the Third,
I'm Sophia Sword.
and we will catch you in the next one.